This is Why Am I a Mets Fan? A podcast hosted by Samantha Croston and Ashley Wenskoski.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Why Am I a Mets Fan podcast. That's Ashley Wenskoski. I'm Samantha Croston, and we are two Syracuse sports reporters with a baseball podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm wearing the Alonso jersey.
She kept the jersey.
I kept the jersey, and it was the right call. Have to just quickly tell you guys, since we know most of our listeners/viewers are men, if you guys have a special woman in your life, be that a wife, a girlfriend, a daughter, let me give you a tip.
An old friend.
An old friend. I thought old friend was the bad thing.
Yeah, but
a friend of the program?
Friend of the program, sure.
Okay. This is actually a youth jersey. Makes a total difference. Honestly, I think if you are a woman, that's the way to go.
Wait, that's intriguing.
No, it really is, because ready? It's a little bit shorter, the sleeves. It's a little bit more like slender. It doesn't have that like big boxy feel that most jerseys have.
Yep.
It's more flattering, honestly. Can be worn open, can be worn shut.
We need to have an entire podcast on the lack of flattering women's sports clothes out there and jerseys and whatnot, but that's a topic for another time.
Dude.
But that is very interesting, because I actually have like the same jersey, just one of my friends got it for me, no back, like no player name on the back, just the black Mets jersey, and it's so large. It's a small. And I wear it to every Mets game I go to, and it might as well be my dress. I just kind of wear it unbuttoned with like shorts underneath or something, but it's like down to my knees. Honestly.
It's a mess. And honestly, you're right. We can't go fully in depth on that, but I have one thing to say.
Sure.
It's not like I need an entire line. Like, I'm not looking for jeweled and bedazzled. Get out of here with that trash. I just want something that fits.
Fitted. Like,
I want
in on
something
the
that
waist.
looks good.
Yeah. I'm not trying to look like I'm wearing a garbage bag every time I go to a baseball game.
I think that that's a fair thing to want in your life.
Right.
Okay. We're here to talk about a lot of things today. Let's start with the fact that Francisco Alvarez is hurt. Wanted to say, make sure you like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Yeah, that guy.
Alvy, he's hurt. It's worth pointing out, this bobblehead, we've never talked about it, looks really nothing like his face. I just want to say
Couldn't look less like him.
This does not look like Francisco Alvarez at all, but nice bobblehead nonetheless.
Yeah, really nice effort. A for effort.
F for execution.
Literally, that's so funny. Anyway, he's hurt. He needs surgery to repair a fractured left hamate bone. Is that how you say it? I think so. And will be out for 6 to 8 weeks. That was what Carlos Mendoza told reporters on Sunday. It's a bone in his hand on the side of his wrist. And important to note, he did miss some time last year with a thumb injury.
Yeah.
And to say that that was felt by the team and by the fans would be the understatement of the year.
Yeah, catchers, the hand stuff is tough. I mean, when I heard this, look, the good news is that 6 to 8 weeks right now, the first week of March, means that he'll miss, 3 to 5 weeks of the regular season. So we could be seeing him back late April, early May. That's not so bad, right? It almost feels like the baseball season isn't really the baseball season until June or July, like after the trade deadline.
I know what you mean by that.
So, I mean, at least there's that. You never want your starting catcher to go down for a variety of reasons. I mean, I think more than anything, they're going to miss him in the lineup a little bit, but they're going to miss him with the pitching staff much more. The Mets were 65-35 with a healthy Alvarez last year and just 24-38 without him. That's not good.
No, that stat, like, everybody understand I was off today and I literally came in so that I can say what I'm about to say and know that people on the internet heard it. They were 24-38 without him in that stretch.
Yeah, not good.
Like, it is a really big difference, and I actually think that this is going to make a bigger impact than people realize. I agree with you. Good news, beginning of the season, okay. But, like, even beyond his spot in the lineup, like, I feel like people forget, or maybe they are thinking the same thing, that Alvarez was really the guy when pitchers would get frazzled. Like, he made such a big impact in those moments.
Yeah.
He is such a rock for this team, such a pillar, and especially for all of the pitchers. There is not one pitcher on that team last year who had anything short of a great relationship with him.
Yeah.
Really trusted him. The way he frames balls, his entire demeanor. Like, he's somebody who, without him, you're going to see a difference.
Yeah, it's really difficult for a pitching staff to adjust when the guy that they're used to throwing to is not going to be out there. Now, who's going to come in his spot? Well, Luis Torrens probably going to see the bulk of that playing time. I mean, obviously a guy who was on the team last year. He was the backup catcher last year.
You're doing something different.
Torrens, yeah.
No, Torrens, sorry. I was thinking, though, the only reason I said that is because I don't know if you saw those, like, people talking about that anywhere. But have you seen that people are suggesting that Tomas Nido make a return?
Yeah, but he's a goner as of now, I believe.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought it was interesting that you were seeing that being brought up places. And what I will say is, I do think for catching, it is hard at this point. Like you said, there's really nobody outside of Torrens who seems useful or valuable.
Yeah.
But I think that with catching, if you don't already have like a good relationship and you haven't already established it with the pitchers and with the clubhouse, it is gonna be sort of significant to not have Alvarez there.
Yeah, I think Torrens is gonna get the bulk of the playing time. I mean, he's one of the best catchers in baseball at throwing out runners. We saw that in his spot starts last year. We saw that when Alvarez was hurt last year. I mean, he's gonna gun some throws to second base. But I mean, Alvarez obviously brings more of the pitch framing to the table, like you said, more of that presence with just knowing the pitchers and knowing, calling pitches for them and whatnot. So David Stearns is saying, listen, I'm not gonna lie, David Stearns is on my nerves a little bit lately. David Stearns is out here with reporters in Mets camp saying that they're gonna look through their internal options to replace him in camp. But like, what are those internal options? We don't even know anybody's name besides Luis Torrens.
Yeah.
There is no one in that camp right now that's seen big league playing time catching behind the plate other than Luis Torrens. So to me, like, James McCann's still out there as a free agent. Yasmani Grandal, I don't know if they're really going to add someone, but it almost feels like you have to. What are you going to play the first month and a half of the season with your backup catcher starting and then nobody even serviceable behind him?
Yeah, you definitely need something else here. But mind you, I also do just want to say, like, Torrens was pretty good last year.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I'm not freaking out right now. I'm actually happy that Torrens is the backup catcher for instances such as this. Like, that makes me feel comfortable. But I agree, from a depth standpoint, it's sort of a womp.
From a depth standpoint, I'm going to need David Stearns to stop standing in front of reporters this spring and being like, we like our options internally. Like, that's nice. I'm going to need more out of him. So Alvy's hurt. Hopefully he comes back, and hopefully it's not the end of the world. The injury bug has really bitten New York these last few days. We will get into it, but oh boy.
Dude, it's been contagious.
Yeah, it's like the flu.
I know you're going to say you don't feel bad, and we'll talk about it later, but I'm honestly starting to border on that line of, like, genuinely starting to feel bad for some Yankees fans. We'll get into it. Ashley's not at
today.
that point.
Not tomorrow.
I have a lot of mixed feelings.
Right.
I'm an empathetic person.
All right.
Okay, we're going to talk about the lineup first. So John Heyman this week said that the plan for now is for... What is this? What you said? This is your arguably. This is what he said. Okay. This is what John Heyman said. Plan for now is for arguably MLB's best lineup to begin this way. In parentheses, he says players involved have been informed. It's going to be Francisco Lindor 1, Juan Soto 2, Pete Alonso 3, Mark Vientos 4, Brandon Nimmo 5, and there's an asterisk next to Vientos and Nimmo. Why is that?
He said Vientos will bat fourth versus most lefties. Nemo will bat fourth versus most righties. So those two could be interchangeable. I know everybody has thoughts on what that kind of top five for the Mets should be because you have such a wealth of talent there, right? I mean, arguably one of the better top fives in baseball. I was surprised to see Heyman say that, arguably MLB's best lineup. I know our Dodgers fans who still listen will have some thoughts on that. I mean, look, Lindor raked after being moved to leadoff last May. That's when Carlos Mendoza, as a rookie manager, right? Lindor struggling. He bumps him up to leadoff. He starts literally killing the ball. He hit 303, 374 with a 926 OPS, 26 home runs, 71 RBIs from the leadoff spot last year. So I think it's a no-brainer. You have to keep Lindor at leadoff. I know they had Nimmo batting leadoff before that, right? Nimmo kind of the same type of hitter, scrappy, get-on-base guy, but really you got to have Lindor as your leadoff guy. Soto at the 2 spot makes a lot of sense to me, right? He's a lefty, so Lindor, switch hitter, Soto, a lefty. I love it. I think your 2 spots usually where you put your best overall hitter. I think it makes a lot of sense to have Soto hit there. Where I hit a problem with this projection is Alonso batting behind Soto.
And why is that?
I think I'm surprised that it's not Vientos, Alonso, maybe Nimmo. Like I said, Nimmo's more of that traditional leadoff guy, so at this point, he's just got to be in there somewhere. I feel like, I mean, I get it, right? You have Lindor switch hitter, Soto lefty, Alonso a righty. I understand what they're trying to do there with the matchups and the combinations. To me, I'm just more interested after the year that Vientos had last year of him protecting a guy like Juan Soto than I am with Alonso. Could this be volatile, right? If Alonso's dead weight in April, which I don't think he will be, but if he is, could this all shift a little bit and change? Absolutely. I would switch Alonso and Vientos personally. I get it. Pete's the power threat, right? right? So you have to pitch to Soto then in a sense because Pete could hit one over the wall. But you know what else could happen in that situation? Lindor can get on base, Soto can get on base, and then Alonso can hit into a double play ball. Boom, you're done.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't. I think I'm inclined to agree with you, also in part because I feel like in the times in years past where Alonso had been in that 3 spot, he didn't hit as well there. I do think that he likes being in that 4 spot. That's what you're saying, right? Is move him into the 4 spot. Yeah. At the same time, it is sort of interesting. There were a couple different combinations that I would have been okay with seeing. I think that the lineup you're seeing now, for the most part, and especially if you switched Pete Alonso into the 4 spot, is sort of looking at last year's success, and then you're thinking, what happened last year? Hopefully we can replicate it again. But when they did have that former lineup where Nimmo was in the 1 spot, I was actually okay with the leadoff spot. I was actually okay with that too. I know that Lindor did well in the leadoff spot last year, so it makes sense to me why he's there now. At the same time, I feel like he has sort of become this slugger in like last year especially, and I wouldn't have minded seeing him in a position where he'd be able to get RBIs more frequently and have runners on base or in scoring position. I also think Nimmo, to your point, is sort of that on-base guy. So to have him in the leadoff spot was something that I would have been comfortable with. But again, I think it is important with a lineup like this and the Mets, since like you said, there is so much talent, is to figure out throughout the course of the year, where do these players feel most comfortable? Yeah. And where are they hitting the best? Like, I know that's an obvious thing to say, but wherever a lot of these players feel comfortable, if it's all aligning and they're hitting better, is where you should play them. So I guess let's continue to experiment with that and see what happens.
Yeah, I also proposed to you this, right? With Lindor hitting leadoff, which we know he thrived in that situation last year. Now he's got Juan Soto behind him. I mean, if I'm Francisco Lindor, I'm looking at my numbers to go like this year. He's going to get some fastballs that he would not have seen without Juan Soto. Last year, I believe they moved it to like Lindor Vientos usually, Lindor Nimmo behind him. Now you got Juan Soto behind you. You're going to see some better pitches. I mean, that goes for everyone. Right now you have this stack at the top of the lineup. Alonso's going to see better. Everybody's going to see better pitches just because of the caliber of hitter hitting behind them. But I just think Alonso's too much of a risk with his style of hitting, which is a strikeout or a home run, essentially. Not always, I know. But I think to me, it's giving too much. We're going to see in May and June, it's going to be Lindor gets on, Soto gets on, Alonso double play, Alonso strikes out, and then you are inevitably relying on Vientos or Nimmo with 2 outs. And I just think, why put yourself in that position?
I understand. Mind you, just to note, Juan Soto in that 2 spot, excellent. Fantastic. Yeah. I honestly think if you're the Mets, you just want to maximize the amount of plate appearances that he can have. You want to see his bat swinging around as much as possible. That makes complete sense to me. So Lindor, leadoff, I'm on board. Soto, 2 spot, I'm on board. Alonso and Vientos, I'd be okay to leave it like this and see what happens. I can't make a decision on that right now until I see how the beginning of the season goes.
I'd like to have good old Marky Mark at third, but maybe he'll work his way up there. We'll see.
We'll see what he ends up doing. All right, moving on to the injury bug that's also hit the New York Yankees.
There's a flu going around. It's called the injury bug. Everybody's hurt.
Yeah. By the way, let's actually make that one of our questions of the week. Please drop in the comments what your preferred lineup would be. Would love to hear that, or taking all takes, or taking all arguments at this time. I was also thinking, this is an idea I never even ran by you, but I feel like you'd say yes, so I'm going to say it now. I think if the folks who listen to this podcast were on board, we should do like a Twitter Spaces sort of event.
Totally.
I want to interact with the people who are in the comments.
Live, I agree.
Yeah, like we can ask questions, we can have some fun.
100%.
So if you guys are interested in that, let us know if that's something that you'd want us to do and when you would be available or free. A Twitter Space is essentially like a group party, and you can have, I think, as many people as show up, and we could essentially just unmute your mics on our end, and you could ask us questions, and we could talk about the Mets among other things.
Totally.
Okay, on to the Yankees. Ooh, I mean, crash out.
I mean, what's going on for the Yankees right now is a disaster class. We haven't used that term in a while. The Yankees are going through a disaster class of a spring, which, by the way, I just sidebar for a minute. I have to stop living a lie and acting like I came up with that term, disaster class, because you know I didn't, right?
Who did?
So my now boyfriend, who was not my boyfriend at the time, came up with that,
Jake's
and I
word?
stole it. That was Jake's word in like October. But he wasn't my boyfriend then, so I couldn't give him the, But now I need to give him the credit. He's lovely. He came up with disaster class. He comes up with a lot of catchy things like that, but I couldn't give it to him at that time.
Okay.
What was I supposed to do?
Okay.
My back was against.
Listen.
My hands were tied. Anyway,
I didn't know this.
Right? Yeah, he came up with disaster class.
Fine gentleman. Her boyfriend, by the way. Just want to say,
fine young man.
Huge Jake stan. Just want to say, he's Fine gentleman.
He's a delight.
He's always a
Anyways,
delight.
this is a female podcast, but there are some important men behind the scenes who give important ideas.
100%.
Anyway, what's going on with the Yankees right now? Disaster class. Gerrit Cole's getting Tommy John. Stanton's out for God knows how long. I mean, this is a problem.
I mean, the Gerrit Cole thing, if I was a Yankees fan, would be the final nail for me. I might switch fan bases at that point.
Like,
I
the
might
coffin is nailed down.
I might just become a fan of a different team. Like, how defeating that must freaking feel. I just can't even begin to describe it. And it's tough. You know, you see, obviously there was so much talk about all this on Twitter. But this is what Ashley deemed to be the best crash out from Yankees Twitter this week. It's from @YankeesNerds, and there's just essentially bullet points listed. And it says, Gerrit Cole is staring down the barrel at Tommy John. Giancarlo Stanton's elbows are shot. Luis Gil might be damaged goods now. Juan Soto is in Queens. Aaron Judge isn't getting any younger. And then he says, I don't know, man. 2024 might have been our shot. There's emotion in that. Like, that's an emotional tweet. You know what I mean?
And it's a tough thing to feel like, right? That 2024 might have been your shot. It's a tough thing to lose the World Series to the Dodgers and then immediately have this happen to you this spring. I'm not rooting on anybody to get injured. I just want to preface that. I do not root for injuries in baseball. Gerrit Cole is good for the sport. Baseball is better when Gerrit Cole is pitching.
Yep.
So we are not rooting for anybody to be hurt or get Tommy John. At the same time, as you all know, do I take great pleasure in Yankee fans kind of losing their minds a little bit? Yes, because we've talked about this many a time. Yankees fans are the person in the room who was born with a silver spoon in their mouth and has never endured hardship. So.
We'll hear that. Oh. It's time for me to make a point about Gerrit Cole. No, I don't know why my alarms are going off literally every episode. So sorry. I forget a lot of things, so I have a lot of alarms on my phone.
Sure.
Guess how many? I counted recently. How many alarms that are not set but are just in my phone?
Oh God, I don't know, like 100?
Like hundreds.
Oh.
Like maybe 250 to 300 just sitting there.
Do you ever scroll back? Sometimes like you're setting an alarm for something else and you see an old one you created for like 5:02 p.m. Like what did I need at 5:02?
I mean, 5:03 and it will say something so goddamn mysterious that it actually freaks me out. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So just wondering if anybody else is that person or not.
My notes app.
Dude, your notes app?
No, I'm the person in the notes app that's like, you don't know what you're gonna find in there. Like it could be the grocery list of like arugula, like milk, or it could be, I don't even drink milk. I don't know why I said that. Or it could be like, yeah, you do not know what's coming. It's like live shots for TV. It's like my scripts. It's like, you don't know what's coming out of the notes app.
I wouldn't want the FBI getting a hold of whatever is in there.
No.
Yeah,
I wouldn't either.
Ashley at 3 a.m.
Literally.
Who the hell knows?
There's full on letters to people. We're done. We're done.
I'm dying. But yeah, listen, I actually agree with you. I think that's why I feel badly for Yankees fans, is because this isn't like, you know, Aaron Judge is dropping a really important fly ball at a really important moment and we can all laugh about it. Like, this is like, that genuinely sucks, even for the sport of baseball. I don't like it. And I feel badly for Yankees fans that they now have to go into the year, and this is their situation. At the same time, I feel like we have frequently talked about, maybe not in these terms, but the offseason and the moves that you make and the chess that you play is a game within the game.
Yeah.
And they didn't play it that well. You know what I mean?
I mean, but they listen. So first of all, they're without any of their three.
Bad luck.
And bad luck. They're without their three best hitters from the playoffs last year. They're without their two aces. I mean, they think it's over in the Bronx before the season even started. So that's just, I know that's a terrible feeling. I think that it's deservedly so, right? You lost, not only are you losing guys to injury, you're losing your stars. Now, who's going to DH? Stanton's just up there in New York. Both of his elbows are just uncertain. What is going on with Giancarlo Stanton? Need to unpack that more.
Awful.
I mean, if I'm a Yankees fan right now, I would be crashing out as well. Pretty much as bad of a spring as you can have. At least they signed Max Fried, right? If they didn't sign him in the offseason for that rotation, oh my God. But even now with Fried, it's like you still look at that and you're like, well, we just gave another huge contract to another, I hate to say aging, but with the way that the sport is these days with pitchers, kind of aging pitcher.
I'm done.
Cole, we didn't even get into the Cole opt-out yet. I'm having a crash out on behalf of the Yankees. Gerrit Cole this November opts out of the deal and then comes back and then turns 4 years, $144 million, and then he needs Tommy John. Like, oh my God, there were rumors about his elbow last year.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Listen, do I think that Yankees fans are jumping the gun and overreacting? Yes. I think that's what everybody in New York does. But I totally would be overreacting too. And when the guy says here, I don't know, man, 2024 might have been our shot. That's not true. Like, I still don't know. Do I still think that even if the Yankees won, whatever it was that last game they lost, game 5, was it?
Game 5.
Let's just say that they won game 5.
Yeah.
I still think ultimately the Dodgers probably would have won the World Series. So maybe 2024 was not their year, but still, to end it on that note and to now come back with really high hopes, like, do I think that the Yankees are making it to the World Series again this year? I wouldn't bet 1 cent on that.
Be a hell of a story if they did with
Not
all
1
the
cent.
pieces that they're missing. Yeah, I think, listen, in sports, it's a terrible feeling, right? I think that guy's bullet point, Aaron Judge, isn't getting any younger. That's true. I wouldn't call him old yet, but I mean, it's getting there. If the Yankees, I guess, waste the Aaron Judge, Gerrit Cole era without winning a World Series, which they already have not in quite a long time in terms of Yankees years, Yankees fans might lose it.
Well, that's the problem.
That'll be the end of Brian Cashman.
That's the problem, I think, for if you're a Yankees fan right now and your idea of the silver spoon analogy. Same thing with like the Chiefs fans.
Sure.
Like, end of the day, this past year, they get to the Super Bowl. Nobody is leaving that feeling happy. Nobody is leaving there feeling like, well, we were top 2.
Right. But you're not like, okay, other fans are not like, oh, the Chiefs, just like they're not like, oh, the Yankees.
No, I know. My point is, like, if you belong to a fan base that is always performing or historically has performed at such a high level, then anything below that is going to feel like a disappointment.
Yeah.
So if you're a Yankees fan, I am sure you do feel like World Series or bust the same way we talk about it here now.
Probably.
I think if it's World Series or bust and you're a Yankees fan, prepare for it to be a bust. Prepare for that now.
Just get your mental preparation in order for it to be a bust. I'm not going to lie.
I just don't know about that.
Something about Juan Soto in Queens is just going to be the wound is open and salt is about to be dumped into it when they have the Subway Series this year.
And you know what? That part, I don't feel bad about at all.
No.
Because you know what? That was his decision, and it feels really good for once as that quote-unquote younger brother to be the person that somebody else chose.
Yep.
And everybody can say whatever they want, and there is a legit percentage of bitter Yankees fans who will continue to die on the hill that it was all about the money. But I will continue to die on the hill that if that's still the way you feel, even now, you don't know ball for shit.
You're wrong. First of all, disaster class, you're wrong. Juan Soto, literally this week, I'm up here like, judge, order in the court. Juan Soto, this week,
You
got
hear Paul
on some
laughing?
podcast. Yeah, our director's a Yankees fan. He's laughing. He said other teams offered him more money than the Mets, and he turned him down. He said there were 5 front runners. We know what the Dodgers, Blue Jays never win, Red Sox, Mets, and Yankees. And Howie Rose quote tweeted one of those tweets, obviously Mets longtime radio broadcaster, and said, I'm not privy to specifics, and I'm sure that you think I'm shilling for ownership or exaggerating the truth, but please trust me when I tell you that this is real. The emphasis on family engagement with this club, the Mets, is the strongest I've seen in all my years with the Mets. Juan Soto, listen, it was the most money, but it wasn't about the money. I'll die on that hill. We've been dying on that hill all winter. I'm sick of saying it.
Howie Rose, friend of the program.
Friend.
Dare I say best friend of the program.
Him and GKR.
Him and GKR, man. Okay.
Anyways, if you're a Yankees fan, I guess I'm sorry, but not really that much. Sorry.
That's so. I wish I might print you out cards on Canva that say that. Sorry for you, in parentheses, but not that much.
Not that much.
I literally could think of 30 people I could send that to right now and really mean it.
On behalf of our program. Also, I really hope whoever was in our comments last week telling us that they were sending us the bumper sticker that we talked about, I will put that on my car.
Boy, you
just
best
so
have
you
meant
know.
that.
I sent you the address
You
of
best
where
have
we
meant
work.
that.
Hope it's on the way.
We've been waiting on that one.
waiting.
Ever since you said it, man. I hope
Check
it's
in the
true.
mail every day.
All right, Dodgers fans, let's talk about it. The Dodgers extend Dave Roberts. Agreed to a new deal today, Monday.
Yes.
Monday.
It's Monday.
4 years total, so a 3-year extension at record rate. What do you think about all this?
Dave Roberts out here getting paid. I
He's
mean,
getting
as
money.
he should.
He's
He's
getting
getting
money.
money. Sets the record average annual value for a manager with just over $8 million a year. It's $32.4 million for 4 years, according to John Heyman. Club hasn't announced it yet. Really hot off the press, just like this afternoon.
He must have felt good firing that out.
What, Jeff Passan?
Just knowing first.
Wait, you know what? I'm sorry. We're
You know
going
what I
on
mean?
so many
He must be
sidebars
like,
today. Oh, John Heyman? Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't
John
Jeff
Heyman.
Passan.
John
Right.
Heyman.
He beat the Passan bomb.
Like, that's got to be a good feeling. I'm just saying.
Can I tell you something? Do you know what I realized today? So for
tell me anything.
our jobs, as you know, sports anchors and reporters here in the loving town of Syracuse, New York, we are on the Mets and Yankees like media lists. I guess just their general listserv. Mm-hmm. And today I go into my spam. I don't even know what I was doing. I was just between shows, like on my email. I don't know. And
actually, let me go in spam.
Let me just check the spam folder.
And what'd you find?
Clearly not that busy. The Yankees media emails, like the girl who sends out the general club announcements on injuries and whatever. Basically, what I'm trying to get out here, spit it out, is we got the Gerrit Cole email the same minute that Jeff Passan tweeted it out. So could we be the next Jeff Passan is where I'm going with this? Like we had that email in our inbox saying Gerrit Cole had the doctor in Los Angeles will undergo Tommy John surgery from the Yankees. At the same time that Passan tweeted. I mean,
why don't you just try and drop some Wensk bombs?
Oh, God. Jake loves the term Wensk. That's going to make him so... Okay, we're done.
Tell him I said that. Tell him I said that. Wensk bomb.
I'm going to refer him to this episode.
Okay, great.
Anyway, just letting you know we might be the next Jeff Passan. Mm-hmm. Jeff Passan. Dave Roberts. Spit it out. Dave Roberts.
Yeah. Yes. He has won 2 World Series and is what are we talking about? Yes. He has won the 2 World Series and is the winningest manager by percentage at 62%. Actually, 63%, 62.7. I'm good at math.
Not math majors.
Median. I got it all in my head.
Don't give me any numbers.
I will never be bringing a median on this episode or a mean ever again.
I won't be referring to math at all.
4 NL pennants, 8 NL West titles. That's quite the resume.
4 NL pennants and 8 NL West titles is arguably crazier than the 2 World Series. Dodgers fans, you let me know how you feel about that, but what a run.
Like that is really amazing when you look at it. And again, I'm sure there are a lot of different ways to judge Roberts, but I think that when I see and all the stuff that I just listed off, I see consistency in a way that's really impressive. So I'm happy for him. Good day to be a man that just became rich.
Yeah,
congratulations to Dodgers fans. Let us know if you.
Congratulations, Dave.
The
The Dodgers had a lot of offseason signings this year. Maybe their biggest one is now extending Dave Roberts. I mean, he deserves it. He's really the gold standard of managers. So throughout baseball,
I mean, to say he earned it would be the understatement of the century. But Dodgers fans, let us know how you feel. I'm assuming that most people will feel positively about that, but I guess we'll find out if
Let
we're
us
wrong.
know. Let us know.
Okay, some other Mets things that we just wanted to get into. Reliever Sean Reed-Foley accepted his assignment to AAA Syracuse instead of free agency. He was on record as saying, I love this organization. I don't want to be anywhere else.
I just put that in there because... Like, what a testament to the Mets, right? Reed-Foley sucks, honestly. They designated him for assignment. I thought he was going to be a goner. What a testament to the Mets.
He sucks.
He sucks. But I can't believe that he accepted. Usually players obviously always elect free agency. See, somebody give him a major league deal out there. He's just like, nah, I'll go to Syracuse. Like, buddy, I am telling you that probably wasn't your best decision, but welcome, I guess.
Like, the loyalty there was really adorable. But does he understand the weather situation here? No. Does he understand that Syracuse is more like a large neighborhood than a small city?
Calling Syracuse a city is kind of outrageous, honestly.
I agree. And again, that's just topic for another day. But it really is too small, in my opinion, to be calling it a city compared to other city-level cities.
We love Central New York. Don't get that twisted. We make a lot of jokes. It lends itself to a lot of jokes. It's also finally getting warmer, which is going to improve our general well-being. The snow has stopped flying, everyone. It's March. It'll probably fly again because, you know, Syracuse goes through a few stages of, like, first spring, second spring. But
you probably don't know this because you were inside all day today, but it was like, it hit the 50s. It was unbelievable.
I got into my car today, and I had to roll down the windows to let the heat out of the car.
I felt like I was on drugs.
I was so intoxicated off of that feeling.
Dude, it was...
I was like, I don't need my coat. The sun's out. What's going on?
It was the sun.
It was the sun. Yeah, the sun never shines. That's the real problem. If you're really from up here, you know that the sun not shining is worse than the snow.
The vitamin D deficiency is...
The vitamin C deficiency, the vitamin B... There's no vitamins.
There's just no vitamins. We just have some vitamins around here. Anyway, okay, yeah, you already kind of hit on this bullet about the Juan Soto, the other teams. We already did all that. Anything else you wanted to say on that or not particularly?
Not particularly.
Great.
I'm over it.
Howie Rose, we already did that one too. Okay, this is an interesting one.
Enter the Phillies, old friend.
Yeah. Bryce Harper wanted the Phillies to sign Pete Alonso. Very, very fascinating. Here's a quote from him. When Pete Alonso was on the block still, I kind of sat there and was like, hey, why not? When we talked about it, I just reiterated to the Phillies. What if anything? I just reiterated to the Phillies and Scott Boras that I'm willing to move out there if it's going to help us. I love playing first base. It's been great. But if it's going to help us win, I'd go back out there, meaning the outfield.
Nice of him to say. I mean, Bryce Harper, you know, Phillies generational talent, saying you'd move back out to the outfield if they were to sign Alonso. Giving team player for sure. I think Bryce Harper's done a lot of maturing since he first hit the league, honestly.
I agree.
And since he was a national and all that, yeah, I guess they wanted Petey. I was on the record many a time saying I didn't feel like Pete was a necessary re-sign, but I also said at the time something about watching Pete in a Phillies jersey. I'm all set. I don't really think I can make it through that experience. So glad that didn't happen. So sorry for your loss, Bryce.
No, I know what you mean. It's like one of those things where it wasn't like you needed to hold on to him, but to let an ex go and then watch him be with that girl.
Too close to home. Literally, figuratively, a mess.
All of it. I mean, yeah, the Phillies, especially for you, I feel like would have been a mess.
Very bad.
Forget this jersey. Returning it to the
jersey,
store.
we were going to have a fire in the middle of this, a campfire if he signed with the Phillies.
No, I totally agree. But I have to say, honestly, credit to Bryce Harper for saying that. Like, I agree with you. I feel like he's sort of always had this sort of bite about him, and like he sort of has this like mean mugging face. But when I heard that, I feel like I'll think about him differently now moving forward. I really will.
I feel like he's going through the mature, like adult, like now he's on like social media, TikTok and stuff, like he's sharing his steak recipes and his like raw milk. Like he's going through the like edging towards 30 process mentally. His frontal lobe's developed.
He's having a crisis.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we also have this to share with you all. Jose Reyes told SNY that the player he hates the most is Chase Utley from the Phillies, which I don't think will come as a giant shock to many.
I love it. Can I just say something? Of that era of the National League East, the NL East of old, David Wright, Jose Reyes, Utley, you know, Jimmy Rollins, Chipper Jones for the Braves. There was a common denominator, okay? You could hate Chipper Jones, but he's like a good guy off the field. He would say nice things about the Mets. There was a camaraderie with those teams that Chase Utley just was never a part of. I feel like I saw David Wright and Ryan Howard, you know, making nice. Chase Utley, to me, is the devil. I just get a terrible vibe off of him. And then, of course, you got the Ruben Tejada slide. That's why I think that, obviously. But Utley, Phillies fans idolize Utley in a way that Mets fans idolize David Wright. You can compare him as players if you want to, but one was a gem off the field and one I'm not so sure was.
That stuff matters to me, I think, more than the average person.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not a good person, I'm not idolizing you whether you're on my team or not, quite honestly.
I don't know enough about Chase Utley to say that he's a horrible human being. Like, he's like a felon
out
here.
Speaking.
Right, but the vibes I've gotten off that are terrible. So Jose Reyes said that they don't say hello to each other, and that's because of what he did to Ruben Tejada, the slide heard round the world in 2015.
I respect it, and I think it's understandable, to be honest.
Ride or die.
Also, this wasn't the point of the story, but Chipper Jones, just as a baseball name, unbelievable.
Iconic. You know he named his son Shea after Shea Stadium because he loved hitting there so much because he'd beat the Mets all the time.
Are you kidding me?
That's next level trolling.
Wow.
I love the name Shea.
Love the name Shay. My dog was named Shay. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. That's awesome.
Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, Sproat will start the year here in Syracuse.
Welcome.
Yeah,
back.
Welcome back. David Stern said we want to see him have significant success at the AAA level. I think he wants to prove he can do that as well. Once we see that, we can start talking about when is the right time at the major league level. I think that is an outstanding move, and I support it 100%.
I agree. We said going into this that that's what we felt like was the right decision. He didn't have a ton of time here last year, only a month or two. So I think that's the right call, and I'm going to look forward to watching him pitch here in April and May. Can you just imagine Brandon Sproat right now, like in Mets camp, you know, with all the big leaguers going back to their apartments in the city, and he knows he's a one-way to Syracuse? Must be tough.
I've frequently thought about that. Again, we love Syracuse. It just seems like we're hating on it today,
slander.
But we genuinely love it here, and it's so fun to be here. But it is just such a I think we love it here because it's so different than New York City, and that's what makes it funny. There, all the big leaders hanging out, and then you're like coming here.
Brandon Sproat's like, there's like 3 restaurants that are serviceable.
Right.
You know.
My man's getting off the Greyhound looking around like, what the hell do we got going on here? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, he's getting off the plane at Syracuse Hancock
he's
International
probably getting
Airport.
off the plane. I'm being honest. I don't know why I just went after the Greyhound. But honestly, I feel it's actually a great bus. And it goes from Syracuse to New York City if you ever need it and you can't get a flight. But yeah, I just envision him being like, looks different in this part of New York. You know what I mean?
It's like that part in the movies where the guy gets off, he's just got a suitcase. He's just like, I'm back.
Yeah, no, I think we make fun of it because New York is such a strangely versatile state.
Yeah.
Like, I have essentially spent my entire life in New York, and every place I've been in is so different. From upstate, you got Long Island, you got the city, Buffalo even. It's literally like different worlds.
Yeah. I think you come back to Syracuse, that's how I feel when I get off the plane from somewhere. I'm like, back in my little enclosure. It's like a little small, you know?
It's my safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
All right. So, all right, then we have one last one. I'm going to let you read this tweet of the week because you found it. I know it brought you great joy.
It did. Our girl Diana, who is like always our tweet of the week. It should just be the Diana tweet of the week segment. Huge Mets fan. She said, quote, "This is your sign to not get attached to the utility infielder who's a part-time pop star that only played 85 games for your team. Broken heart emoji. Jose Iglesias signed with the Padres. Worst news of the week. We knew it was coming, but it really hurts. Jose Iglesias is the guy you didn't want to break up with, but you had to."
There's a part of me that still feels like it was the wrong decision. Maybe we could have stayed together.
You gonna text your ex?
No, it's the daytime.
All right.
Let's see. Nope, not going to go there either.
We've gone off the rails.
We got off the rails. It's too early in the day for this. No, I agree. I do agree in my heart of hearts. It hurts me a little bit when I think about him and all the good things that he did. He brought me and a lot of fans and a lot of people great joy. But I do think it was the right decision, and I'm wishing him nothing but the best, which you can't say about every ex, but about him, you can say that.
And you know, he's out there in San Diego, as we discovered a couple months ago. Lovely town. Hope he enjoys the weather out there.
Right? I mean, you got to admit, that's a pretty good deal for him.
I can kind of picture Iglesias at some of those spots in San Diego. Very Jose Iglesias town.
Totally agree. Anything else that you want to say about Mets, Yankees, or otherwise, and then we'll get out of here.
That's all. Godspeed. See you all next week. We have opening day aspirations. I said that one time before. Not confirmed, not denied at Citi Field, but we're trying. So maybe see you there, maybe not.
Yeah, we're not going to overpromise and then underdeliver. So the second that we have good news about anything, we'll let you know. But we don't have that now.
It's squarely up in the air.
It's so for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you back here when the next big thing happens. Thanks for joining us.